What's the worst offense you've seen someone make in a court? I took a guy to small claims court. His defense was I didn't have the product, so I couldn't ship it to him. Obviously, the judge was like, but you took his money. The guy, yay, so I could buy the product and ship it to Hi Monsieur Judge. Did you do that? Guy, not yet. Judge, do you have his money? Guy, no. I had an emergency and had to spend it. That was that. I won. Edit. Someone gave me gold. Thanks. This was a very stressful period of my life. I took a guy to small claims court because his employee stepson installed the wrong size air handler and installed it backwards. The guy's claim was that he, personally, did not install it and that his stepson was useless. I won because it was his employee that did the work incorrectly. Afterwards, the guy asked if he could come get the air handler. Told him no, he should have done that in the first place. I probably could have sued him for more. After giving us the verdict, the judge gave me directions of where to go to file for suing out of small claims court and what paperwork I needed. I saw this go down while waiting for my traffic ticket. Judge: so, you were seen pulling a stop sign out of the ground and throwing it in the river. Accused: yes, sir. J: were you drunk? A: no, sir. J: the ticket says you were intoxicated. A: no, sir. J: okay, let's say I believe you. I will throw out this drunk and disorderly charge. A: thank you, sir. J: but I will have to charge you with the destruction of government property and endangering the public. That comes with at least a year in jail. So I'll ask one more time. Were you drunk? A: yes, sir. Very drunk, sir. Why does being drunk get them off of the other charges? My interpretation was that the judge didn't actually want to hand out the year-long jail sentence. He just wanted to strike fear into the guy's heart and stop him from lying. Listing the potential charges is a good way for him to recognize the seriousness of his actions. Probably the same reason claiming insanity gets people out of stuff. I ain't no lawyer, but I think the idea is that if he willingly did that sober, then that is malicious and dangerous opposed to a drunk guy doing stupid shit. Edit. Till claiming insanity is unlikely to happen and also dumb to try. My sister told the judge that the light wasn't that red. Then he said he was going to suspend her license and she said, but my dad already took it away. Daddy took her T-Bird away? Yeah, but I don't think she was having fun. I defended a guy on a DUI that jumped into the backseat after he got pulled over and claimed someone else was driving. He was the only one in the car. Jesus, take the wheel. He was here a second ago. Me drive? Oh hell no, I'm fucked up. Quote: do you know why I pulled you over? Opens donut box cause you could smell it. Quote: you don't understand, I damn near pissed myself. Aggravated criminal sodomy. The defense attorney said the rape only lasted for a minute. Edit. During closing argument to the jury. Ah yes. The Brock the Rapist Turner defense. Edit. 3 weeks later and I still can't believe my gold cherry was popped by Brock the Rapist Turner. I only raped them a little, leave me alone. Oh, look at Mr. Marathon over there. I never touched my daughters. I never hurt my daughters. Never would I sexually abuse my daughters. Except that one time at the cabin. The guy became an instant meme in our country. Language. Reminds me of a recent case here in Edmonton. Man convicted to 23 years for sexually assaulting his daughter. And trying to sell one, both online for sex. Said he agreed he was guilty in the eyes of the law, but felt he did nothing wrong since he was married to the girl. Also his daughter. And the Bible says it's allowed between a man and his wife. The judge let the man talk for 3 whole hours. Greater than the judge let the man talk for 3 whole hours. More like the judge listened to a confession for 3 hours to make sure he was getting enough jail. The longer this speech is, the shorter the sentencing phase will be. It says here you were drinking and driving. Judge: no sir. I drank then I drove. A guilty guy. At least he's honest. A domestic abuse case. The husband was the accused. The couple was in their late 70s or early 80s. When asked if he did indeed abuse his wife, the husband started complaining that some 40 years ago the wife pretended to be ill and he had to do the laundry all by himself, as if he expected the judge to just go, "Oh okay. I guess that's cool then. You see, the real victim of everything is me. That's why I need to beat up the bitch every single day and it's so hard." After that one day 40 years ago, I just had to make sure she never tried to cheat her way out of doing laundry ever again. There really was no other choice other than to beat it into her day after day for 40 years. I was in traffic court and the first guy to go before the judge got pulled over doing some crazy speed, like 140 miles per hour. The judge essentially told the guy to say he wouldn't ever do it again and that it was a mistake. And in return, the judge would drop the ticket fee and the points on his record. The guy countered with, "Well, I drive that fast all the time, so I'm really good at it. And I don't think it was dangerous at all because of how good of a driver I am, monsieur." Guy could have walked out totally free, but instead got a $2,500 FNE and 2 points on his record. Reminds me of a story about Butch Cassidy, the famous robber in the Old West. He was captured in Wyoming and brought before a judge. The judge said that he would let him go if he promised never to break the law again. Cassidy said that he couldn't do that, but he would promise never to break the law in Wyoming. And the judge took that deal and Cassidy lived up to it. Anytime his gang planned a job in Wyoming he opted out. There was a similar deal between Prohibition-era mobsters and St. Paul, Minnesota. The city provided a haven for Chicago-based gin runners and bank robbers, such as Al Capone. Cops looked aside when they were spotted on the street, and in return, the crooks minded their manners inside the city limits. I watched a friend try a DWI case. Her client testified that she wasn't drunk while driving, and therefore not guilty, because she was actually high on meth at the time. My friend put her head down and started hitting her head against the desk. GUUILLLLLTTTTYYYYYY. Why the hell did she put her client on the stand in a DUI trial? You have a constitutional right to appear in your own defense. Your lawyer is legally unable to stop you if you want to speak in your own defense. ELI 5. Your lawyer can't stop you from being stupid. Of course his DNA, semen, was in the alley behind his apartment, where a sexual assault took place. Where else would you expect to find your DNA except where you lived? Quote, "I jerk off in that alley all the time," which is lewd conduct and indecent exposure, and I assume a much lesser violation than sexual assault. Friend of mine once got a ticket for leaving her car standing in the marked-off no parking zone in front of a grocery store, which she thought was outrageous because she was just running in to get a pack of smokes. Then she saw how much the ticket was for. Something like $120. Which she thought was just ridiculous because damn it, she was just running in for a pack of smokes. I mean, come on, how is that worth $120? So her plan was to go to court and contest the ticket and point out to the judge how ridiculous that was, an offer to compromise at like maybe $40 because for Pete's sake, she was just running in for a pack of smokes, and let's be reasonable here. Yes, her plan was to haggle with a judge over how much the ticket should be worth. So she goes to court and sits there most of the day waiting for her case to be called. And eventually she gets bored and goes outside to grab a smoke and hang out. And while she's out there, her case is called. She missed the whole thing. Didn't even get to try the whole, come on. $120? For that? Come on. I'll give you $40 and even that's highway robbery. Defense on the judge and got hit for the full value of the ticket plus court costs. If this happened to me I would quit smoking. I was a juror for a case against a woman that was charged with selling a stolen gun to a pawn broker in possession of a gun by a convicted felon. She took the stand and admitted to finding the gun at a friend's house and taking it to the pawn broker. Her attorney's entire closing argument was that the state failed to prove that it was a gun and the charges should be dropped. Never mind the fact that she admitted to it being a gun. The guy that owned the gun said it was his gun and we had it right there in front of us. The defense said it was not a gun because the state had not fired it to prove it was a gun. And of course, as soon as we get back to the room to deliberate, one of the other jurors said he was not convinced it was a real gun. That was a really long day. Edit. Wow, this is by far the most karma I've ever gotten on a comment. To those wondering, we had the gun in the jury room but it was in a clear plastic box. We did have a bailiff come in at one point to take it out and pull the slide back. We were not allowed to handle it ourselves. I got caught with 35 grams of weed when the cops came into where I was living. They never tested it, and when the prosecutor kept bringing up cannabis, my lawyer pointed out that they never actually tested the green plant matter in question. Sure enough, judge was like, "Yep, you're right, green plant matter it is." I know this isn't the same thing, but it just reminded me of that situation, which nearly made me laugh in court. It's basically the same situation, based solely on the details the original commenter gave. It sounds dumb until you think about it for 5 seconds. Would that commenter want to live in a legal regime where an entire court case could rise and fall on a prosecutor, not even a witness, but just a prosecutor, arguing without evidence? Well, clearly it's weed. Duh. Quote. That's fucked. There's a few cases a year where someone is arrested for weed, or coke, or meth, or whatever, and it turns out to be oregano or baking soda or something similar. An arrest isn't the best outcome in that situation, but it's a lot better than a conviction. Ted Bundy jumping out of the courthouse window and running probably didn't do much to convince people he was innocent. Best defense is a good offense. He was just trying to run it in for a touchdown on 4th down. I knew a guy who said that the police who responded to the domestic that he had perpetrated had no right to charge him with meth possession since the meth was so pure no one could have seen it. The Drax defense. A guy was in court for a DUI, and he insisted on taking the stand when his lawyer advised him not to. Turned out he wanted the judge to know the cop who arrested him was just some rude kid trying to be a big shot, and he wasn't even drunk. He'd only had 2 bottles of wine with dinner. His lawyer interrupted him to try to get him to stop talking, and he told his lawyer to shut up. Then the judge advised him to listen to his lawyer, and he told the judge, "I'm not a damn child. Don't interrupt me." And the judge just smiled and sat back and said, "Please proceed." We all knew it was over for this guy. He got maxed on the charge, and advised in the future if he was going to pay for a lawyer, he should listen to "Hi Monsieur. Only 2 bottles of wine. Sheesh. Yeah, you should have heard the collective ooh go through the courtroom when he said that. Everyone but him knew he was smoked. Sexual assault trial we had this past summer. Guy brutally raped a woman in a park, then took her bike and ATM card. A few minutes later he is recorded withdrawing $80 from her account. He is arrested within hours of the assault. At trial, he testified that the sex was consensual and the victim enjoyed performing oral on him so much that she gave him the bike and ATM card to show her appreciation, and that someone else came along and beat her after he left. He also practiced his planned testimony with an inmate who had just been sentenced on a gun charge, and bragged about the sexual assault in detail. That inmate threw him under the bus and testified against Hi Monsieur gun charge. Inmate freely admitted he hoped rapist would wind up in the same prison he did so he could hand out some rec-yard justice. Running dope and guns was one thing, but he couldn't tolerate someone touching a woman. It didn't take long for a guilty verdict and life sentence. You actually find that a lot in the prison system. You can murder. You can steal. You can deal drugs. You can be a racist who beat up a black dude. But you do shit to kids or rape. And you are public enemy number one in whatever prison you go to. A lot of prison docs. The inmates will almost gleefully admit to nearly or actually killing kitty fiddlers and rapists. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.